while we stand amid monuments of stone, we must never forget that each of these markers, for those known and unknown here at Arlington and far beyond, represent a precious life.
Now, meanwhile, eyes are still rolling across America after the vice president tweeted this over the weekend. Enjoy the long weekend, she said, a picture of her smiling. Who knows where this picture was taken? Also over the weekend, the vice president gave that commencement speech at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis. And what does she choose to talk about to the graduating class on Memorial Day weekend? Solar panels.
And just ask any Marine today, would she rather carry 20 pounds of batteries or a rolled up solar panel? And I am positive she will tell you a solar panel, and so would he.
You can kind of see the pained applause there. At least the cadets were, or the graduates used to say, being polite. Now, Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw and Senator Tom Cotton just launched a whistleblower webpage. Their vow is to expose woke ideology in the ranks of the U.S. military, and they're inviting America's warfighters to submit their stories and tell the country what is happening inside the military. Let's talk a little more about this and welcome in host of Stinchfield here on Newsmax TV at 8 p.m. every Monday through Friday. Grant Stinchfield, also with us, Florida congressional candidate, decorated combat veteran, and Newsmax contributor Cory Mills. Guys, great to have you with us. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, John.
Be with you, John.
All right, first, Cory, to you, your reaction to the Kamala Harris Memorial Day enjoy your long weekend tweet. And this after the solar panels comment at the Navy graduation commencement. You know, who's writing the speeches, who's sending the tweets out on behalf of the president? Because I can't tell if they're tone deaf or if this is an attempt to troll people like us.
Well, first off, I'd ask a bigger question, which is who's even running the country at this time. Look, this just goes back to what we already know about Kamala Harris, that she's exceptionally self-centered, self-absorbed, completely out of the touch of reality. She's only doing things that are either, fitting her narrative for identity politics, looking at the divisive rhetoric of critical race theory. And again, her comment on whether you'd carry 20 pounds of batteries or a solar panel, well, what would she really know? She never served in uniform a day in her life. Today is a day to celebrate and to honor our fallen. Today is a day that we look at all the sacrifices that are made to protect our constitutional liberties and freedoms, the very thing that the left is sitting here threatening each day. And this critical race theory, divisive rhetoric that's going on and trying to be introduced, that Dan Crenshaw and Cotton and others are trying to combat, is exactly what we need right now. Because look, a unit is a cohesive thing. Politics has no business in our military. Identity politics has no business in our military. We must remain united. We must stand shoulder to shoulder. And again, I ask that when she's over there and she's staring at all the headstones in Arlington Cemetery, that she note that they're not labeled and they're not lined up by race or by gender or by economic status. They're not done in a way that actually tries to separate. They're done in a way that honors each other in the same exact manner, which is to sit here and look at our fallen, our brave. We are the land of the free because of the home of the brave.
Yeah, there are things that, I'll never know this. Kamala Harris will never know this, Grant, what it is like to go downrange with a group of men and women, your life solely in their hands, that group, that adhesiveness that Cory talked about. When you see this stuff, this racial equality, inclusion, everywhere it's been tried, it only seems to foment more division. So what is the real objective here with this stuff, Grant? What do you think?
Well, the sad reality is it's just a continuation of the Obama administration. Look, on this day, I want to celebrate America and what an exceptional country this is. And in doing that, I celebrate all the men and women that have shed blood and lost their lives defending the freedom in this great country. You see, when you're Joe Biden or you're Kamala Harris and you don't think America is exceptional, when you want to go on an apology tour across the world apologizing for America, this is what you get. You turn our military into a social experiment. And so, I love both of you guys, but I'm going to push back a little bit here on this. I never served, but you don't have to serve to understand the importance of our military, the sacrifices they make, what they go through. I may have never experienced it, but neither did President Trump, and I think he's one of the greatest commander-in-chiefs this nation has ever seen. they're out in left field. Don't excuse it because she didn't serve in the military. Who cares that she didn't serve? She has no respect for our military. That's what leaves me steaming mad. And she could be commander-in-chief, and she has, as I said, no respect for our men and women in military. Otherwise, she wouldn't be making these stupid jokes.
No, that's a good point, Grant. I just want to be clear. It's not about understanding per se. It's more about knowing what it's like to have guys with guns coming after you, and you have guns going after other bad guys. And that's what we'll never really experience that. Cory knows what that's like, and that's one of the things when I talk to especially combat veterans after that tweet this weekend, the biggest takeaway I got, and I hate to even bring it up again, but you can't let it go unnoticed, is that they are making this about them, and it's not about them. It's about the folks who are not with us today. Again, but what's so apparent here is that whoever's running the social media shop at the White House does not understand the significance of this day, this weekend, or those whom we lost, what they have sacrificed with their family as well. And this also comes, Cory, to your point about who's in control here. We continue to get just kind of jaw-dropping information about how obvious the Wuhan lab leak theory was or should have been to other members of the media. More medical experts are now seemingly sounding the alarm based on information we already knew a year ago. But former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb says this type of stuff happens all the time, his quote. Also, one scientist from Baylor, the College of Medicine there, telling the Washington Post, quote, the world will face COVID-26 and COVID-32 without a full investigation. We also had the former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying the Wuhan lab is still up and running. So, Cory, this story is well known. Everyone's talking about it, but you don't see the urgency really coming from the Biden administration right now.
Well, again, though, should we be that surprised that Joe Biden and his administration does nothing when it comes to the CCP or to hold China accountable? Again, it's the same thing with the WHO, who was supposed to go forward, and China continued to put forward donations and control exactly what the outcome was. President Trump and Secretary Pompeo both understood that this came from the level 4 Wuhan lab, that this entire thing originated from China, that China tried to stifle the messaging while they shut down transportation and interstate flights and things like this, but allowed them to fly internationally. And again, I go back to the original statement I made long ago, was that this was almost an intentional thing. Why? Because their economics were in shambles. Why? Because they were having the protests that were going on in Hong Kong that need to shut down. Why? Because they're the largest manufacturer of PPE and other pharmaceuticals, in which President Trump, had basically done the China Phase 1 deal, which holds them accountable with regards to their trade imbalances. So again, I don't look at this as a mistake, and I think that everyone's starting to see more and more and more that what President Trump was saying is 100% correct.
Yeah, Grant, sometimes they say the quiet part out loud on accident, and we always kind of joke around that we watch the Sunday shows so the folks at home don't have to, but I was struck by this moment from ABC News' chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl kind of admitting that, of course, reporters didn't listen to things President Trump said simply because he was President Trump. Take a listen.
And yes, I think a lot of people have egg on their face. This was an idea that was first put forward by Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, Donald Trump. And look, some things may be true even if Donald Trump said them.
They may be true, Grant, even if Donald Trump says them. And I think it's more than having egg on your face. You got to ask the question, how many people died because of Trump derangement syndrome? I used to kind of laugh at the idea of Trump derangement syndrome, but you can't do that anymore because of stories like this one.
Well, look, I'm very proud of this network because we were reporting the possibility that it needed to be looked in, not making any declarations, but specifically on our show at 8 p.m. we were saying this is a strong possibility. Here's a guarantee I'm going to make for you, though, John. I promise you we will see another disease coming out of China, and it will be devastating to the world. This is what China is doing right now, and even worse than that, there are 15 companies owned and operated by a Chinese Communist Party here in the United States with ties back to China that are collecting Americans' DNA. I am confident that China is taking that DNA and they will weaponize, whether it's viruses or other diseases, using American DNA, so these new diseases only target Americans. And this is not some wild theory from me. This is what intelligence officials that I've spoken with are working on and investigating the possibility of. We need to be very concerned about all of the information, including what kind of health records, health data, and our DNA that we're giving up to China.
It really is astounding, Grant, when you think about all the information that was available to these massive media, these industrial-sized media entities, and it was right in front of them, and they just missed it. But we'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. Grant doesn't miss much. Shout out to the Freedom T-shirt under the blazer too on Grant's shirt as well.
Thanks,
Cory,
buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your service, Cory, and all of your platoon mates and everybody you lost. We're thinking about them today. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.